welcome all for the 68th episode of Regal Live. And I'm Sundararajan Subramaniam, called as Sundar, and we also have Anupama Giri in today's discussion. To give a quick introduction about me, I am an operational leader for the last 2 decades, moved into transformation consultant, and right now I'm in the journey of leadership coach. Anupama, we would like to know here from you a quick background about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Sundar. Good evening, all. And I'm pleased to be here in my conversation with Sundar, who is a fellow coach on our journey of being a coach. And I come with a technology background of almost 15 plus years, where last few years have been into a leadership role. And I'm really passionate about leadership culture and people. And with that, I think this topic is close to my heart when we will be sharing about our own transformation and how coaching has turned us as leaders and how we view leadership and to the people or the leaders whom we are coaching. So, Sundar, when you were talking about yourself, I heard few transitions happening. So, tell us a little more about it and how coaching has shaped you during these transformations.
Absolutely, Anupama. See, there are a couple of transitions that happened in my life. And as I mentioned, I started as an operations guy. I've spent almost 20 years in operations.
Mhm.
Uh, and then, came out of the corporate and then started on my own for the last 2 years or so, right? So right now I focus on two things. One is business excellence and people excellence, right? And
Wow.
both of them, they go hand in hand very well. So business excellence is all about giving the solutions which you are very well known for doing it for the last 2 decades, right? And people excellence is where the shift really happened when we started working with the people on their leadership journey. We do a lot of packaging for them, right? We take them through multiple different journeys, and so that's when I realized that maybe it is the time for me to uh, look at coaching as a potential option, right? And then I kind of enrolled myself into coaching more to add a piece to my people excellence offering. But Anupama, you have to believe me, the sort of transformation that happened to me as in a person during this whole journey of getting myself prepared as a leadership coach is phenomenal. Is phenomenal. And here we are talking about two hats, right? One is the business hat where you are supposed to be giving the solutions. On the other hand, where you always work with the people. So I'm kind of literally rediscovering myself in this space, right? So when you talk about all these social styles with people, we always say, what, someone is really task oriented and tell know what to do, right? So I'm seeing in a transition, and that's what a driver in an organization is supposed to be doing, right? Someone is piloting the organization, piloting a project. So now I'm seeing a transition from myself for myself, that I'm going the more of people focused and asking the people, right? So tell and task oriented versus right, ask and people oriented. I think that is a paradigm shift for me in my business approach.
Yeah, I'm sure it would have been phenomenal because I know that a lot of people walk in to this journey of coaching thinking that, okay, yeah, let me just explore it. But the transformation sometimes happens is beyond what we have expected to happen. And as you said, that I'm sure it would have been a little hard to, when you are so used to giving solution and then being there that, okay, yeah, you have to do this and the problem will be solved versus inviting people to just come and tell that, okay, how this can be solved or what can be done together. So that's beautiful, Sundar. Thanks for
Absolutely.
sharing.
So Anupam, of course, you are also in a transition as a leadership coach right now. So what is your story?
Yeah, so I would say that I was lucky to experience coaching much before I chose to show up as a coach or go for a coach training. So in my earlier, like if I go back to say 4 years, I was just introduced to coaching. Hey, there is a coaching session happening. Would you like to enroll? And like me being that enthusiastic learner, I just said, yeah, let me just explore without any expectation, and I stepped into it. And when I experienced it for the first time, I was like, okay, wow, something like this also exists where you can just go layers after the layers. And I would say that I always see that even for a leader, there is a human behind that leader. So through my coaching, even when I just started my journey as a leader, I already have kind of got that awareness about self, and I knew there is a support system where if something is not resolved, I can always go to my coach and talk about it and how the beliefs have shifted. So I'll just take a very, um, life example from my own leadership journey. So being a new leader, always I have been known for my accountability and all. That is my one of my core values. But for me, I was just seeing that, okay, if my team is not delivering so and so, without even seeing that, okay, what is going wrong, my focus was still on myself. That, okay, it is my accountability. What am I not doing right that my team is not delivering? So when I went to the coaching session, I think that question still resonates in my mind, that what is accountability for you and how do you see your accountability when you were an individual contributor versus now when you are leading a team. And probably that question, when we went layer into layer, it just told me that as a leader, I doesn't have to be accountable for everybody else action, rather enable them to be accountable themselves. So these are the kind of shifts where one time slogging for 15 hours or and thinking that, okay, what am I not doing right as a leader, versus now to see that, okay, where my investment of time should go, and identifying that myself rather than somebody coming and telling me. I think that is one phenomenal change that has gone into my leadership as a coachee, I would say. And if I can just add, as a coach also, like when in my last instinct, when I was registered for this coach learning program, I was still holding a full time position, and in my review calls, when we do the performance review and all, um, I just took these competencies that we learn as coaches about, being allowing the other person to talk more, being such an active listener, and then asking those kind of a question where the next person can come up that they also know what is not going wrong. Whereas we think that as a leader, we always have to tell what is not going right and what's happening. But when I trusted that the process, I saw that the transformation in the other person also happened much earlier rather than, I have been talking about this for, say, last 6 months. But I saw that ownership of taking those small baby steps and bringing that change. So these are a couple of instances where I like really tasted the power of coaching.
Wonderful. I think that's such a good testimony, great testimony to kind of talk about, Anupama. Wonderful journey.
Yeah, so yeah, it always gives us that confidence in coaching, right? When we have experienced it in our real life. So, Sundar, you have been coaching a lot of leaders of late, right? So, tell me a little more. How has been your journey and with these leaders, and what do you hear from these leaders? What are their stories that they are telling?
Absolutely, Anupama. I would love to share that. Even before that, Anupama, I was talking about these two pieces, right? Now, what I do. One is the people excellence, and then the business excellence, right? Now, in fact, one of our discussions we were talking about. See, me wearing that consultant hat and
Mm-hmm.
moving to the coaching hat is something that which you see. Sometimes your customers may not see that, right?
Yeah.
So slowly trying to integrate whatever the learning that happens on the coaching side into the business excellence also, right? One good example now would be that when I think I'm handling in a larger transformation project right now. So in
Mm-hmm.
those transformation project, generally when I handle such size or magnitude of that size of projects, because you already you have that confidence of that 2.5 decade that you carry with you, isn't it? So the moment walk in, when someone spells out a problem, you already have 100 things in your mind. Okay, hey, try this, try this, try this. You have options after options after options, correct? But now, see, I'm trying to change that approach completely right now. So it is more about now I'm getting into a questioning mode, trying to understand really know what is really happening in there, asking them more questions and kind of inducing them to find solutions for themselves. Now it was very difficult. Of course, now this is happening for the last 1 year after I started the coaching journey. It was really tough when I started with a couple of projects. It was really tough because people think that they pay you to get that solution off the shelf. Now you go and asking people to find their own solution. That approach is very strange even in the market. But Anupama, I have seen people working on those solutions after 3 or 4 months coming back and saying, Sundar, somehow we also felt that you are another leadership transformation guy or another transformation consultant who is coming in, going to give solutions, and then eventually after few months or maybe a couple of years, it's going to fade away. But right now, I could see the solution which we all together came up with, right? Uh, and it is we are very confident that it is going to be a paradigm shift literally for the organization. So the leaders, they have confidence in the solutions which they are coming up with. And this we are not talking about not in the people, it is in the business excellence, right? So how we could pick up something from the people excellence part and then slowly bring that into the business excellence is phenomenal, and all the credit goes to coaching and what coaching does to me as a person. That's the more.
That's beautiful, because it sounds so powerful also, Sundar, when you said, like, we only so far many times we just think that okay, it's more about how a leader is carrying or what is the leadership presence and all, but now you are like directly linking the benefits of coaching to the business excellence part of it. That sounds a lot of I would say that ROI in one of the episodes we spoke about. I literally see that here, that what is the ROI of coaching on your business excellence. So
Absolutely.
wonderful. Thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely. And also, you also asked about what is the no, because we are coaching now leaders, right? So what that leaders are not talking about. One classic example is that someone now called me up after almost 1.5 months and said, Sundar, I have now something to share. Right? I said, okay, what is it? Sundar, you have been coaching me for the last 5 months time on different topics. So I could see the way you approach, the way you ask the questions, right, and how you are making us to think, right. So literally you are touching the areas which we never ever imagined to touch within ourselves, right. So I somehow I got that in a format. I took this in a format and used it with one of my peer group, right? And
Mhm.
it was really wonderful, Sundar. It really did magic. And believe me, someone who did not went through a formal coaching and training, he kind of grasped how what we are doing, with him as a coach. He's just trying to give an attempt in terms of how this coaching works with his team just by observing us, right,
Wow.
and just yeah, right, and he's talking about the impact of what he has created to his team. Then I can really say, oh my god, if those people come to real coaching and then take in a formal coaching training and then get themselves transformed as coaches, I think that would be the I think the idealistic uh, manpower an organization can have, or leaders an organization can have.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful. I mean, the thought that was coming to my mind, that, like, seriously, coaching is contagious when it is introduced to a culture, in all good sense I'm talking about. But then, if you are touching one life or one leader with, coaching, then it can have such exponential effect on all the people who are coming into touch with that leader, and that's the power of coaching when it comes to the leadership coaching. And I must say that, okay, this program that Regal offers, leader as a coach, is a brilliant one. And I have met a couple of people, and they just talk about how much shift has happened by attending this program.
Absolutely, Anupama. Absolutely, absolutely. And you're also coaching leaders for the last few months in a time, right? For a certain time period after you started your coaching journey, right?
Yeah.
So anything interesting happening around you?
Yeah, it's quite interesting, and I don't call myself as a leadership coach as such. I'm still finding it out, but I have a deep interest in people. So and it so happened that the people who have reached out for coaching happen to be leaders. And as I said, in my experience also, it was the shift in the people behind which also changes the leader. For it, interestingly, for two of my coaches, a similar theme came up. It was more about the relationship with peers. And when we had a deep dive, because many a times that when you are in leadership position, you already are working with other set of people. I won't say always ego is there, but then they are also quite well achieved. And when you have that a peer group, yes, it brings a lot of synergy, but at the same time there can be many conflicts. And in one cases, again, I'll take a real time example where one of my coaches was really thinking that, if I get a yes from each of my peer, only then my idea is good. And when we sat with that thought and then had a deep dive and figured it out, that maybe it was coming from a belief that if everybody says yes, it can come from so many places, right? We have been there in our education system and all, where we're kind of getting a tick mark from everyone that yeah, we are good, we are doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Validation is so important. So when we did that deep dive and figured out that validation is not needed from everyone, so my coach was able to accept that rejection of an idea and still question on it. Otherwise, I have seen that the comment that okay, I'll just shut down, and I feel my idea is not good enough. So I saw that shift, and next time onwards, I heard saying that I go prepared, because now the awareness is there. So I know that okay, even if it may come, I am aware of my feelings and I'm able to take care of. So to me, this is the transformation. When you are able to, as a leader, you are able to deal much better with your peer group. So that is one of the examples. It's very close to my heart when it was shared. And as you said, I would like to highlight in your case also, you said it was like 1.5 months later you are getting a call, right? And
Absolutely.
it was kind of similar timeline here also, right? Like we say that coaching happens, the actual effect of coaching happens between the sessions. So I think we are truly feeling it, that okay, in session something happened, but then the ripple effects are seen much more later. And also one more thing I would like to say, that when one of the leaders I have been coaching was, he said that this is my first experience, and he said, you are really asking me uncomfortable questions. I never thought about it. But at the same time, he enjoyed it. He said that yeah, it is difficult, but after a time, he said like I started enjoying these sessions as well, because if they take me to a space and certain questions are there, okay, how do you see this, and I never thought about it. So these
Absolutely.
are the tiny bits. When I see this, my faith in coaching gets much more deeper, because I have seen it from the other side, and now I'm seeing it, okay, when I'm on standing on the other side and being wearing that coach hat, and then you are hearing all these, then it really brings that joy and belief.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's some of the snippets.
Absolutely. So it is not only improves your people skills as a leader, and it very actively contributes and make you really sharp on the business side also. I think that is what coaching really does, right? Because you are really transforming. You could see you transforming from tell to ask, right? As I mentioned, it's not a very easy thing for people like me, especially because I can
Mhm.
take my example, because telling is bread and butter for me, right? I think that is the one which kind of brought me bread to the table for the last 2 decades. So if that can do wonders to people like me, I'm sure this can do wonders for the leaders in the industry, right?
Yeah.
Anupama, it was wonderful talking to you today, and thanks for sharing whatever you have shared with the team. Right? Have a great day.
Yeah, so it was a pleasure to, have a conversation like this. And I'm sure that our viewers would have got some insights about it, that, okay, and getting a flavor of what coaching is, because I think it's still, while in some corporates, it's quite part of the culture. But when these kind of questions are asked at what coaching is, probably it has given some insights how coaching can bring this kind of a transformation, where we
Um,
just go through the beliefs and some of the difficult questions only to make life simpler and
Absolutely.
make a leader much more effective in their own management and their team's management, for sure.
Absolutely, Anupama. Great, Anupama. Nice to know have you today. Take care.
Yeah, thank you. It's time
Thank
up,
you.
I guess. So, yeah, thanks to Regal for hosting us. I think it's a great opportunity by Regal that we get to share our thoughts and come into conversations like
Right.
this.
Yes, we will continue to do this. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.